Hello and welcome to EDM America TV with me, Peter Kontor. We have a special guest tonight. He came all the way from Australia with us. He was signed with Armada Recordings when he was 17. He made the remixes with people like Rank 1, BT, Jess, and you might know him as Tyson, but also as tyDi. tyDi?
How you doing?
All right, let's start with the beginning. How was your beginning with music?
It was a long time ago. I've been writing music since I was about 15. I started out as a drummer in a rock band in high school, then went on to study music in university. I have a degree in music, and basically was just one of those computer nerds who
So you're a drummer?
I can play drums, yeah, but not for a profession. I mean,
What's your musical background besides drums? Like, do you play any other instrument?
yeah, I play a bit of piano, but I have a degree in music so music theory and technology. So everything from composing to producing.
What was the breakthrough for you? Like, what was the time that actually pushed you forward in your career?
It's hard to say exactly. You know, a lot of people go, "What was your big break?" But it's kind of like looking in the mirror. You don't look in the mirror every day and go, "I'm suddenly old." You just notice yourself getting older. For me, it was like that. Every show would be bigger and bigger. I released an album called Shooting Stars, and that did really well worldwide. Then I started playing bigger shows, and it's kind of like a gradual process for me. But
How long it took you? Like, how many years you would say you were at the point that you said, "Okay, I'm pretty much there where I want to be."
Um, well, I knew from day one when I was first playing to crowds, I knew that's where I wanted to be. I think I think I told myself, I made a rule. I said if I'm not when I'm 25, if I'm not playing all around the world and making music for a career, then I'll quit and I'll become a scientist or something like that because that was my second passion. But yeah, by 25, I was playing in every country and touring, so I stuck with the music.
Gotcha. Now, here's a question: if you would start from the scratch today, like you wouldn't even touch a computer and making music, what would you do as a producer if you wanted to make it? Like start today. Let's say forget the past. Right now, you just want to start making music. You don't know nothing about it. What would you do?
If I had lost all my ability, you mean?
No, no, no. Like let's say you're just a guy that wants to start up. You're just a fresh producer, and now you want to start up in the industry. What would you do? Like, what would be your steps based on your experiences?
Yeah, I would learn my best advice, I guess. It's hard to put myself in that position, but my advice would be to not copy anybody else because a lot of them a big mistake that a lot of new producers make is that they see somebody like Vici or Tiesto, David Guetta, and they think, oh, I'm going to sound like them. So they do everything. They write their music to sound like them. They copy everything. But the thing is, Avicii's already made it for that sound. There's only one Avicii. There's only one David Guetta. So you'll never become huge or very play the world in your own right if you sound like other people. So my advice would be to find your passion and find your own sound and become known for something unique that nobody's done before.
Yeah, despite the sound, what it is, just whatever makes you happy, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're making music for all the wrong reasons, fame or girls or money, you're not going to be passionate about it, and you're probably not going to get good at it. You'll just copy people. If you make something that you love, passion leads to success because you're truly passionate about it. And when you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like, it's not a job.
It's a part of your lifestyle, I
Part of
guess.
your life,
All right. Here's the question: do you like better work on originals or remixes?
Probably originals because of the creative process. I like to be able to sit down on the piano and just write, especially when I work with a collaboration. My new album coming out, every song on the album is a collaboration with a vocalist or a band, and it's just a fun process because we sit down, we literally it's like a blank canvas. I'll play some piano, some chords, make some melodies, maybe I'll throw a beat together and someone will start singing and we write lyrics, we make a concept, and it's just this room of creativity for a day. And sometimes by the end of the day, we'll have a song that never existed before, and then I can go and produce it into whatever style I want. But
Yeah, that was my question actually. Do you find it working hard with vocalists? The stuff is it ready or like vocals coming to you with the ready project or together on the lyrics on the melody?
Yeah, back in maybe my previous albums, I did it where I would write the music and send it to a vocalist or work with the vocalist like that. But these days it's totally different. I'm more involved in the songwriting process. So I'll sit down with the vocalist, who is just as much of a writer in the song as I am. And they're all. It's not like these are secret writers. They're featured on my tracks. So some of the every song on my album has a feature vocalist, and they worked with me in the room, and we wrote the song together, and it's a collaboration.
Yeah, I check your cover of your album. It's pretty much the only person that I personally know is Jennifer Renee. Everybody else is like unknown people. These are vocalists that you try to. These are like brand new vocalists that you never worked with them before. Or these are like
Actually, it's the other way around. A lot of the vocalists on the album, some of them are bigger than me. Their careers are a lot bigger. Bands like the Ready Set. He's a pop star in his own right. I went to see him play at the Warped Tour, and thousands of people came to see his band. His name's Jordan, but he goes by the Ready Set. Incredible artist. Dashboard Confessional. Chris Caraba is his real name, but he had a band called Dashboard Confessional that I used to listen to when I was 15. It was music I grew up to, I was passionate about. So a lot of these people on my album are bands. They're not, people haven't heard of them maybe in the EDM world because I chose to kind of stay away from dance music and people that are vocalists that everyone else is using. But a lot of these vocalists on my album, if you look into their own career, they're huge, in fact bigger than me. So I'm very lucky to be working with the people that are on my album.
nice. Do you consider yourself as a part of EDM? And what is the EDM to you personally?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the word EDM is something not to get caught up on. It's electronic dance music. Too many people get a little worried, like, oh, that takes away the whole coolness of tech house or trance or progressive. I would say I'd rather be called EDM, because I do so much. If you listen to my new album when it comes out, every song is different. There's ballads, there's progressive house, there's techno, there's so many different genres on the album. I can't tell somebody in an interview what style my album is. It's too hard. So it's better to say EDM. It's dance music mostly. It's electronic, even though there's a lot of acoustic. So yeah, to me, it's just a nice way of wrapping up a big collection of electronic music that you can dance to. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is your work process? What kind of DAW are you using? What is your favorite plugins or hardware that you could not live without?
So I'm writing everything with Logic. I used to use Logic 9. I've just moved on to Logic X. Oh, it's a. Did you trap me there? No, it's a different learning curve going from Logic 9 to Logic X, but I'm staying with it because I've always used Logic, and I've tried using some different software. Like when I record, say, string quartets and things like that, we use Pro Tools. It's a lot better workflow for recording live bands and instruments. But when it comes to Logic, I've always used it for production. I love it. When it comes to synths, everything. I've got so many synths I use. One that I just jumped on, literally probably a few weeks ago, is called Spire. And it's a lot of fun. But before that, I'm using Massive, Omnisphere, Trillion, everything.
Gotcha. What would be your favorite track ever that you made? And maybe 3 favorite tracks of other producers.
Ooh, okay. My favorite track ever that I've made is so hard to answer because my new album, I wrote. I'm not kidding. I wrote about 300 songs to get to the 20 that made the album. Yeah, doesn't mean I finished all of them, but I sat down. We started 300 ideas with different people, and finally the 20 that made the album. So it's very hard to choose a favorite. The one with Chris Caraba is pretty cool. It's called The Closer I Get. And also the first song on the album, Somebody For Me, is amazing. I feel bad. I'm just like, yeah, it's really good. It's amazing. Check out my album. I like it. Well, I mean, I have to like it. It's my album. I spent 3 years on it. So.
But even when you make your own stuff, some of the tracks you're really jamming to, and then some of them just tracks you made, and some of them are really you.
I mean, if you look at the ratio, if you write 300 songs, and I don't write a song unless I like it. I don't write a song to sell out or to sell copies. I make music because I love it. So if I've already made 300 and then 20 make the album, it's almost impossible to pick a favorite because those are the ones that it was hard to already cut out the others that didn't make the album. Other tracks I'm probably a little more nostalgic with. I'm a big fan of Gesapelstein. He's got a genre into himself. It's very cool. He has a track called Pursuit that I love. Sasha has a song called Mr. Tiddles, which is a song that I heard 10 years ago on his album Airdron Dagger. And then there's Bat for Lashes, a song called Daniel. It's a band, but it's a remix by Henry Says that I love. They're probably my top 3 right now.
Gotcha. How do you prepare for a set?
Well, it's all about the thing about DJing is that it's not really about being a musician. Being a DJ, producing music and working in the studio as being a musician. DJing is more about choosing songs at the right time, exactly the right time to get the right reaction. So you can't really prepare because you have 2,000 to 20,000 people out there, and you never know exactly what they're going to want, and you don't know what the DJ before you is playing. So usually I know my intro, because that's really the one thing you can work on and for sure. So I'll have an intro, and then the rest is improvised. And to me, that's the art of DJing. If you prepare a DJ set, then you're taking away the one thing that DJing is. Like, DJing is about reading a crowd, seeing what the crowd wants to, like how they're going to react, and then improvising and planning the next song so they go crazy. It's all about contrast. Drop them low for a while, build them high. So very little preparation and more just being careful, and thinking about the new songs I'm going to play maybe. And obviously the start of my tour is my new album, so I'll be playing a lot of tracks from the album, but I still don't know when or what time or any kind of structure. It all comes down to the crowd and how they react to my performance.
You just finished your album, but if you had a chance to work with somebody, who would that be?
The person I've always wanted to work with is a lead singer from a band called The Used. His name's Bert. I met him recently at the Hollywood Palladium at a show they did over there in LA, and we've been in touch, and he's living in Australia now. We're talking about writing a track, and it's been in talks for a while, but I think we're going to get a track together soon. Unfortunately, he didn't get it in time for the new album, but yeah, I think it could happen. So yeah.
Going to mastering, I'm sorry, going to producing, what would be? I have a question for you. When you produce, do you have something on your master, or you add this at the very last time when pretty much track is ready, so you can see more or less how the like limited track will be?
No, because I think that's a big mistake that you could make. Everyone's got their own different workflow, but when I produce, I don't leave anything on the master channel or the master bus, because I don't want the track to be hitting any kind of. As soon as the track's hitting 0, or if you see it hitting red in the production process, then you know that the limiter in the final master is going to just pull the things that went over back down to 0, and the things underneath will be left untouched. So you're not going to get a realistic view of what it'll be like. So I produce my songs so that everything sits well in the green, nothing on the master bus, no EQ. I want my mix to sound as clean and as tight and as perfect as it can without anything on the master bus, so that the actual mastering process can do what it's meant to do, and that is make an amazing mix sound even better. If you start to put things on the master bus before you've finished producing the song, then you're kind of doing the mastering process as you go, and that takes away the purpose of mastering, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's interesting how everybody's looking at this, right?
Yeah.
You travel a lot. What was the craziest story from your travels? Like the one that stuck in your head.
Last time I answered this question, it was for a kids magazine. I got in trouble, so I don't know what your audience is.
All right, we're gonna skip that question. What's favorite thing about Chicago?
I can answer the question.
Okay, let's end. Let's do that then.
What kind of audience do we have here? 2 more. Yeah, I once had a couple come up to me, and they were like married, and the guy said, "Can you please take my wife home and make her pregnant so I can raise your child?" That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I told that answer to an interview in Australia, and they told me we can't use that. It's for a kids mag. So, but that's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, that is kind of odd. So what's your current focus on? Like album, singles, besides promoting your new album?
Yeah, the album's out, so I'm not like I physically look and feel exhausted right now because this album has taken 3 years, and yeah, now it's done. My focus is kind of clean slate. I didn't have a studio in LA for the last 2 months because the album was done and I needed that break. Now I'm starting to build my studio again, and I'll start to write a new album. But I work kind of more on that band kind of view rather than DJs putting a song out every 3 months. I kind of work towards an album and then drop the album and then I'll write the next. So After Redefine comes out, I'll be slamming away on the next album.
All right, thank you for having you, and we're gonna hear some good beats tonight.
Hopefully. Yeah.
How many new tracks are you gonna play tonight for us?
I've got 2 hours, so we'll see. I don't know, maybe like 20, 30. We'll see how we go.
All right, awesome. Once again, thank you, tyDi, and thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with EDM America TV.